Squinty and the Merry Monkey. "Where do you live, Squinty?" asked Slicko, the jumping squirrel, as she skipped from one tree branch to another and so reached the ground near the comical little pig. "Oh, I live in a pen," answered Squinty, "but I'm not there now." "No, I see you are not," spoke Slicko with a laugh which showed her sharp white teeth. "But what are you doing so far away from your pen? Or perhaps it is close by, though I never saw you in these woods before," she went on, looking around as if she might see a pig pen under one of the trees. "No, I have never been here before," Squinty answered. "My pen is far from here. My master is a boy who taught me to do tricks, such as jumping rope, but I ran away and had a balloon ride." "What's a balloon?" asked Slicko, as she combed out her tail with a chestnut burr. Squirrels always use chestnut burrs for combs. "A balloon is something that goes up in the air," answered Squinty, "and it has bags of sand in it." "Well, I can go up in the air when I climb a tree," went on Slicko with a jolly laugh. "Am I a balloon?" "No, you are not," said Squinty. "A balloon is very different." "Well, I know where there is some sand," spoke Slicko. "I could get some of that and put it in leaf bags. Would that make me a balloon?" "Oh, no, of course not," Squinty answered. "You could never be a balloon. But if you know where there is some sand, perhaps you know where there is some sour milk. I am very hungry." "I never heard of sour milk," replied the girl squirrel, "but I know where to find some nuts. Do you like hickory nuts?" I guess so," answered Squinty, thinking perhaps they were like acorns. "Please show me where there are some." "Come on!" chattered Slicko. She led the way through the woods, leaping from one branch to another over Squinty's head. The little pig ran along on the ground through the dry leaves. Sometimes he went on 4 feet, and sometimes he stood up straight on his hind feet. "Can you do that?" he asked the squirrel. "It's a trick the boy taught me." "Oh, yes, I can sit up on my hind legs and eat a nut," the squirrel girl said. "But nobody taught me. I could always do it. I don't call that a trick." "Well, it is a trick for me," said Squinty. "But where are the hickory nuts you spoke of?" "Right here," answered Slicko, the jumping squirrel, hopping about as lively as a cricket as she pointed to a pile of nuts in a hollow stump. Squinty tried to chew some, but as soon as he took them in his mouth he cried out, "Oh my, how hard the shells are! This is worse than the sand. I can't chew hickory nuts. Have you no other kind?" "Oh, yes, I know where there are some acorns," answered Slicko, "but I do not care for them as well as for hickory nuts." "Oh, please show me the acorns," begged Squinty. "Here they are," spoke Slicko, jumping a little farther as she pointed to a pile of acorns in another hollow stump. "Oh, these are fine, thank you," grunted Squinty, and he began to eat them. All at once there sounded through the woods a noise like chat, chat, chatter! Whirr! "My, what's that?" cried Squinty, turning quickly around. "That is my mamma calling me," said Slicko, the jumping squirrel. "I shall have to go home to my nest now. Goodbye, Squinty. I like you very much, and I hope I shall soon see you again." "I hope so, too," spoke Squinty, and while he went on eating the acorns, Slicko ran along the tree branches to her nest. The little comical pig was rather lonesome after Slicko had left him, but he was no longer hungry, thanks to the acorns. So he walked on, and pretty soon he came to a road, and down the road he saw coming the strangest sight. There were a lot of big wagons, all painted red and green and gold. Many horses drew each wagon, the big wheels of which rattled like thunder, and beside the wagons there were many strange animals walking along. Animals which Squinty had never seen before. "Oh, my!" cried Squinty. "This is worse than the balloon! I must run away!" But just as he turned to run, he saw a little animal jump out of one of the big wagons and come toward him. This animal was something like a little boy, only instead of clothes, he was covered with hairy fur, and the animal had a long tail, which Squinty knew no boy ever had. Squinty was so surprised at seeing this strange animal that the little pig stood still. The hairy animal with the long tail came straight for the bush behind which Squinty was hiding and crawled through. Then the two stood looking at one another while the big wagons rumbled past on the road. "Hello!" Squinty finally exclaimed. "Who are you?" "Why, I am Mappo, the merry monkey," was the answer as he curled his long tail around a stick of wood. "But I don't need to ask who you are. You are a pig, I can see that, for we have one in our circus, and the clown rides him around the ring, and it is too funny for anything." "Ha! So you are a monkey?" asked Squinty. "But what do you mean by a circus?" "That's a circus," answered Mappo, pointing with one paw through a hole in the bush at the queer animals and the red, gold, and green wagons. "That is, it will be a circus when they put up the big tent and all the people come. Didn't you ever see a circus?" "Never," answered Squinty. "Did you ever ride in a balloon?" "Never," answered Mappo. "Well, then we are even," said Squinty. "Now you tell me about a circus, and I'll tell you about the balloon." "Well," said the monkey, "a circus is a big show in a tent to make people laugh. There are clowns and animals to look at. I am one of the animals, but I ran out of my cage when the door flew open." "Well, why did you run away?" asked Squinty. "Oh, I got tired of staying in a cage, and I was afraid the big tiger might bite me. I'll run back again pretty soon, before they miss me. Now you tell me about your balloon ride." So Squinty told the merry monkey all about running away and learning tricks and having a ride in the queer basket. "I can do tricks too," said Mappo, "but just now I am hungry. I wonder if any coconut trees are in these woods." "I don't know what a coconut is," answered Squinty, "but I'll give you some of my acorns." The comical little pig and the merry monkey hid under the bush and ate acorns as they watched the circus procession go past. It was not a regular parade, as the show was going only from one town to another. Squinty looked at the beautiful wagons and at the strange animals, some with big humps on their backs. At last he saw some very big creatures, and he cried out, "Oh, Mappo! What are those animals? They have a tail at each end." "Those are elephants," said Mappo, "and they do not have two tails. One is a tail, and the other is a trunk, or long nose, by which they pick up peanuts and other things to eat, and they can drink water through it, too." "Oh, elephants, eh?" exclaimed Squinty. "But who is that big, fierce-looking one with two long teeth sticking out? I would be afraid of him." "Ha! You wouldn't need to be," said Mappo with a merry laugh. "That is Tum Tum, the jolliest elephant in the whole circus. Why, he is so kind he wouldn't hurt a fly, and he is so happy that everyone loves him. He is always playing jokes." "Well, I'm glad he is so jolly," spoke Squinty as he watched Tum Tum and the other elephants march slowly along the road on their big feet, like washtubs swinging their long trunks. Then Mappo the monkey and Squinty the comical pig started off through the woods. "Squinty, I don't believe we're going to find any coconut trees in this woods," said Mappo the monkey after he and the little pig had wandered on for some time. "It doesn't seem so, does it?" spoke Squinty, looking all around, first with his wide open eye and then with his queer droopy one. The monkey ran along, now on the ground, and now and then swinging himself up in the branches of trees by his long legs, each one of which had a sort of hand on the end. Sometimes he hung by his tail, for monkeys are made to do that. "My, I wish I could get up in the trees the way you do," said Squinty. "Do you think I could hang by my tail, Mappo?" "I don't know," answered the monkey, scratching his head. "Your tail has a nice little curl in it, almost like mine. Did you ever try to hang by your tail?" "No, I never did." "Well, you don't know what you can do until you try," said Mappo. The two animal friends soon came to where some of the acorns had fallen off a tree, and they ate as many as they wanted. Mappo said they were not as good as coconuts, but he liked them pretty well because he was hungry. And Squinty thought acorns were just the best things he had ever tasted, except apples and potatoes. or perhaps sour milk. By this time it was getting dark, and Squinty said, "Oh dear, I wonder where we can sleep tonight." "Oh, do not let that worry you," said Mappo. "I'm used to living in the woods. When I was little, before I was caught and put in the circus, I lived in the woods all the time. See, here is a nice hollow stump filled with leaves for you to sleep in, and I will climb a tree and sleep in that." "Couldn't you sleep down in the stump with me?" asked Squinty. "It's sort of lonesome all by yourself in the dark." "Yes, I'll sleep with you," said Mappo. "Now we'll make up a nice bed." But as soon as they were piling some more leaves in the hollow stump, they heard many voices of men shouting in the woods. "Here he is! Here's that runaway monkey! I see him! Come and catch him!" cried the men. "Oh, they're from the circus! They're after me!" cried Mappo. "I must run and hide. Goodbye, Squinty. I'll see you again sometime, maybe. You had better run also, or the circus men may catch you." Squinty looked through the trees and saw a number of men coming toward him and the monkey. Then Mappo climbed up in a tall tree, and Squinty ran away as fast as his little short legs would take him. "Never mind the pig, get the monkey!" Squinty heard one man cry, and then the comical little pig dodged under a bush and kept on running. When Squinty stopped running, it was quite dark. He could hardly see, and he had run into several trees and bumped his nose a number of times. It hurt him very much. "Well, I guess I'm lost again," thought Squinty, "and I am all alone. Oh, what a lot of things has happened to me since I was in the pen with my mamma and papa and sisters and brothers. I wish I were back with them again." Squinty felt very sad and lonesome. He wondered if the circus men had caught Mappo. Then he felt that he had better find a place where he could cover himself up with dry leaves and go to sleep. He walked about in the dark until all of a sudden he stumbled into a hole that was filled with dried grass. "I guess I'd better stay here," thought Squinty, so he pulled some of the grass over him and went to sleep. When he awoke, the sun was shining. "I must get my breakfast," thought Squinty. He hunted about until he had found some acorns, and then, coming to a little brook of water, he took a long drink. Something about the brook made Squinty look at it carefully. Why," he exclaimed to himself, "it seems to me I have been here before. Yes, I am sure I have. This is the place where I first came to get a drink when I first ran away. It is near the pen where I used to live. Oh, I wonder if I can find that." The heart of Squinty was beating fast as he looked around at the scenes he had seen when he was a very little pig some weeks before. Yes, it was the same brook, he was sure of it. And there was the garden of potatoes and the cornfield where he had first lost his way. Hark, what was that? Off in the rows of corn he heard a dog barking. Somehow he knew that dog's bark. "If that could be Dawn," thought Squinty hopefully. The barking sounded nearer. Squinty turned around, standing on the edge of the little brook, and waited, his heart beating faster and faster. All at once there came running through the potato field a black and white dog. Squinty knew him at once. It was Dawn. "Bow wow! Bow wow!" barked Dawn. "Well, if there isn't that comical little pig Squinty! Where in the world did you come from? You've been running away, I'll be bound. Now I'm going to take you back to the pen." "Oh, Dawn, I am so glad to see you," squealed Squinty. I did run away, but I never will any more. I am lost. Oh, Dawn, don't take me by the ear. I'll go with you." "All right," barked Dawn kindly. "Come along. Your pen isn't far off." And he ran along beside the little pig, who after many adventures had wandered back home. Squinty and Dawn came to the edge of the potato field. "Well, I never!" exclaimed the farmer man, who was there hoeing the potatoes. "If there isn't that comical little pig I sold to that boy Bob. I wonder where he came from." "Bow wow! Bow wow! I found him!" barked Dawn, but of course the farmer did not understand. "Well, I'll put you back in the pen again until that boy sends for you," said the farmer as he lifted Squinty over into the pen where his mamma and papa and brothers and sisters were. Why, it's Squinty!" cried Mrs. Pig.
"He's come back,"
grunted Mr. Pig.
"Oh, I'm so glad,"
said Woof Woof.
"and so am I,"
added Twisty Tail as she rubbed her nose against Squinty's.
"Where have you been, and what happened to you?"
she asked her brother. "Oh, many things," he said. "I have learned some tricks. I have been up in a balloon. I met Slicko the jumping squirrel, Mappo the merry monkey, and I saw Tum Tum the jolly circus elephant. Now I am home again." "And which did you like best of all?" asked Mrs. Pig, when they had finished asking him questions. "Getting back home," answered Squinty as he took a big drink of sour milk. And that is the story of Squinty the comical pig. The farmer sent word to the boy that his pet was back in the pen, but the boy said he thought he did not want a pet pig any more. So Squinty, for the time being, stayed with his family.